Hey everyone, it's SniperKH and welcome back today to a new Destiny video. As of this season, which is Season of Plunger, there are 61 craftable weapons in the game, and while most of those weapons are good, you definitely do not need to craft all of them. So in today's video, I wanted to cover which of those weapons are worthy of crafting. This video will focus only on the weapons that are good in PvE, so if you will notice a certain weapon isn't on the list, that's why. Finally, I will be limiting this video to 2 of the best weapons in each of the subcategories, so I'll only be including 2 auto rifles, 2 SMGs, 2 pulse rifles, etc. Now that I've challenged Cactus HD for who has a longer intro, let's get to the video. Beginning with auto rifles, let's look at Sweet Sorrow. Sweet Sorrow is an auto rifle I have frequently given praise towards as I think it's a great auto rifle. It's a pretty common drop from PsyOps Battlegrounds and it can drop from the war table at the helm if you turn in an Umbral Engram in. It comes with some great perks as well, with stats for all, 1 for all being my go-to, but triple tap and Vorpal weapon being another great pick. This auto also performs very well in GM settings, which is why it's one of the 2 auto rifle picks. My second auto rifle pick goes to the Amit AR2. This is a new auto rifle that can draw from the Amalan Engram at the start chart, or you can get the pattern easily through the Foundry quest at the crafting relic. It is the best ad clear auto rifle in the game in my opinion, thanks to its access to Ambitious Assassin and Incandescent, which when you overflow the magazine to its max can leave you with up to 90 shots in a magazine, which is amazing. Definitely recommend crafting either or both of these autos. Next up we have bows. This section will be fast simply because none of the bows are really must-haves, but Under Your Skin can be depending on your situation. Under Your Skin is one of 2 non-sunset legendary bows in Destiny 2 and in my opinion it's the best but by a small margin. If you need a legendary bow, go for Archer's Tempo and Explosive Head, but if you just need a bow in general, use one of the 3 exotic bows in the secondary slot. Next up we have hand cannons. The only hand cannon I recommend crafting for PvE is Zyuli's Bane. If you've been keeping up with Destiny content this season, you probably have heard other creators talk about this weapon and praise it, and it's for good reason. This weapon, like other King's Fall weapons, has insane perk combinations, with one that has caught everyone's attention being Explosive Payload and Incandescent. Having this perk combination on this weapon makes it a legendary sunshot and makes it powerful for low end PvE. It's worth noting that this weapon even has a great role for higher end PvE content, with that being Explosive Payload and 1 for all. Regardless of which role you choose to go for on this weapon, I'd highly recommend crafting this weapon because it is definitely worth it. Next up we have pulse rifles. While every pulse rifle we have currently for crafting is worth it, I want to highlight 2. The first one I want to highlight is the Insidious. It comes from the Valve the Disciple raid and it's honestly one of my favorite weapons to come from the raid. It is super consistent and comes with a great perk pool. My personal favorite is the all for all combo of stats for all and 1 for all. If this isn't your cup of tea, then you can opt for Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, Rapid Hit and Vorpal and more. Overall a great pulse rifle. The second pulse rifle I want to recommend is the BXR-55 Battler. This weapon is amazing and has been amazing since its debut back in the anniversary event. This weapon comes from the Dares of Eternity and from Xur's Treasure Hoard, and it's actually the only weapon on this list that I don't have the pattern for because the RNG gods hate me. Getting back onto topic, this weapon comes loaded with perks worthy of your time, but the combination that I am hunting is Demolitionist and Incandescent, as this combination will allow you to dominate in PvE. Feel free to get both of these pulse rifles for your PvE pleasure. Moving on to scout rifles, we have Tears of Contrition to start us off. Tears of Contrition made it onto my best craftable season of the Haunted weapons last season, and it's here because it's still a great scout rifle. It comes with some great perks, and it's not too much of a pain in the ass to get. It drops on the Nightmare Containment public event on the Derelict Leviathan, Sever missions, and the Helm. It also has some great perks like Triple Tap and Explosive Payload, which is my preferred role on this weapon. For the second scout rifle, I have Tarnished Metal. This is the Season of Plunger Seasonal Scout, and this weapon is literally the perfect ARG light frame scout rifle for endgame, and maybe even low in PvE. It comes with some great perk combinations, with my personal favorite for this weapon being Rapid Hit and Explosive Payload, as it will make this weapon strong for GM content, master raids, and more. Definitely get both of these weapons. Next up we have Sidearms, or well, Sidearm, because I only have one to recommend for PvE. That sidearm is Brigand's Law. It's a solid sidearm if you're looking for a short range arc weapon to have as your secondary. It drops from Perpetual Motion and Bolt Shot, which is the combination you should be looking for on this weapon. This weapon can drop from Catch Crash, Expeditions, and from the Helm, so go grind for it if you want it. For the next and final section for kinetic weapons, we have SMGs, and to kick things off we have Submission. Submission drops from the Valve the Disciple raid and is one of my personal favorite SMGs to come from the Witch Queen era of Destiny 2. It comes with some phenomenal perks for PvE, including Overflow, Subsistence, Perpetual Motion, and Frenzy, and with the Origin trade, best believe that if you craft this weapon, you will have an awesome weapon for ad clear. The second weapon I have on this list, which is even better at ad clearing, is the Callous Mini Tool. Do you want an SMG that can possibly make you even more unkillable in lower end content while wiping any enemy in your path off the face of the planet? Your answer should be yes, and therefore this is the answer to that. Callous Mini Tool comes equipped with one of the strongest perk combinations for ad clearing, and that of Unrelenting and Incandescent. With Incandescent getting a large number of kills, it will proc Unrelenting, allowing you to heal with every horde you wipe out, making ad clear maybe a little too easy. Definitely worth getting both. Let's now transition to special weapons, and let's tackle fusion rifles first. The only fusion rifle I can recommend is Midas Reckoning. It drops from King's Fall and has a perk interaction that makes this weapon amazing. If you were to get Reservoir Burst and the Origin trait together, then when you reload around teammates, it will give you additional Reservoir Burst shots, which is insane to have. I'd recommend pairing this with either Field Prep or Unrelenting for maximum effectiveness. Moving on to the special weapons, we have Glaives. Glaives are sorta in a weird spot right now, where they're still not amazing, but their use for PvE, especially in higher end PvE, is beginning to be discovered, and due to this, I kinda have no fucking clue what to recommend for these. But regardless, I'm going to try. For the Enigma, go for Subsistence and Frenzy. For Lubre's Ruin, go for Grave Robber and Swashbuckler. And for Nezaric's Whisper, go for Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie. Feel free to grind just for one of these things, as having all three is unnecessary. Next up, we have Breach Grenade Launchers, and the first one we have is Forbearance, and are we shocked at all by this? Forbearance is an amazing breach grenade launcher and might honestly be the best ad clearing tool in the game, thanks to its access to Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin on a waveframe grenade launcher. If you have not quite yet gotten this weapon, then I don't know what to tell you. The second breach loading grenade launcher is Pardon Our Dust. That is currently the only blinding grenade launcher that can be crafted. This weapon comes from Jars of Eternity and from Zer's Treasure Hoard. The fourth column perk is not necessary, although you should definitely prioritize getting Vorpal Weapon. For columns 2 and 3, get blinding grenades and auto-loading holster for a great grenade launcher for high-end PvE content. For shotguns, you don't absolutely need to craft any shotgun currently, but if you absolutely need one, craft a No Reprieve with Triple Tap and Focus Fury. If you do not need a shotgun right now, wait until Heritage becomes craftable next season and then craft one of those. Moving on to sniper rifles, I only have one recommendation, and that is for Thoughtless. Thoughtless is honestly a slept-on sniper, mainly due to the fact that legendary snipers aren't really that good right now, but if snipers are to become meta again, then this sniper is definitely one to have. I'd recommend going for Overflow and Firing Line. Similarly to shotguns, you can wait for Succession to become craftable next season for a great sniper rifle, but that's entirely up to you. Moving on to heavies now, since you should just avoid trace rifles and heavy grenade launchers, we have linear fusion rifles. The first one I want to recommend is the best linear fusion rifle in the game, Cataclysmic. It drops from the Valve the Disciple raid and is the best linear fusion for a reason. It has the perk Bait and Switch on it, which allows you to get a 35% bonus damage for 10 seconds, which is insane for boss DPS. Pair this with 4 times the charm, as you should always be doing, and you have yourself a weapon that will shred any boss you come across. The second linear I want to recommend is the Taipan 4FR. I made a video on this weapon at the start of the season, so people who have been watching my content for a moment already know what I have to say regarding this weapon. But shortening it down, this is easily the best void linear in the game, and it can be easily crafted thanks to its pattern being tied to the Foundry quest you get from the crafting relic. Once you get the pattern, level it up and put Triple Tap and Firing Line on it in order to have a beast of a linear fusion rifle. Moving on, we have LMGs. The only LMG I recommend you craft is the Fixed Odds. This LMG comes from the Duality Dungeon, more specifically the Kydal encounter, and is a great LMG for ad clear. While you typically don't want to use heavies for ad clear, and the off chance that it's better to do so, this weapon will make it light work. For lower end content, I recommend going for Field Prep and Incandescent, and for higher end content, I recommend going for Field Prep and Firing Line. Regardless of which role you craft, you best believe that you'll have an insane weapon for most PvE content. Next up, we have rocket launchers. While most of the legendary rockets we have for crafting are decent at best, there's one I'd recommend you craft, and that rocket is the Palmyra B. This was the rocket launcher that put the community into a chokehold during the first few months of the Witch Queen, mainly due to the fact that it comes with great perks. It has access to perks like auto-loading holster and lasting impression, which are both great perks for boss DPS, which is what this weapon is made for. Pair this with Gjallarhorn and you'll have a rocket that will annihilate everything in PvE. Moving on to the final section of this video, we have swords. As of now, there are only 2 craftable swords in Destiny 2, and those 2 swords are half truths and the other half. I highly recommend that you craft the other half. While it may be rough to get the pattern since the weapon is pretty rare, you only need 1 red border in order to get the pattern, and Bungie confirmed that every drop of the sword will be a red border drop, so you'll get the pattern when you get the sword. Regarding perks, I'd recommend Eager Edge and Frenzy, as Eager Edge will let you lunge at people from afar. It will let you do cool movement techniques like shatter skating and well skating. It is overall useful in PvP. Definitely craft this sword if you haven't. Well, there you have it. In the course of this video, we covered a long list of roughly 24 weapons that are worthy of crafting. As I said at the start of this video, this list is for PvE only, so if you'd like for me to make a similar video but for PvP, then drop a comment and I'll gladly put it together. If you think I missed a weapon in this video, then be sure to let me know by dropping a comment below. If you found today's video useful, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more Destiny content that is dropping every week. I know I didn't upload at all last week, but rest assured that I will be uploading a lot, especially next season, so be on the lookout. If you want to keep up with me elsewhere, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and now HIVE, where you can keep up to date with my content. If you have any additional questions, then you can stop by my streams that happen right here on YouTube, and I'd love to answer them. With that being said, I'm SniperKH, and I'm out. Good luck with gaming.